Good morning, friends, and Steve here. Settling in. Let's just start off with stating these words out loud. Just getting to a space where I don't feel quite as claustrophobic in a large space, but we're gonna get this energy moving out a bit. So let's state out loud. I connect to my deep self. And with all these things you say, just notice what happens when you say these words. If something happens, if you notice something happen, it's okay if you don't. It happens when you state the words. The connection to the deep self happens. How open your system is to feeling that's really just where we're at any individual time. So I open myself to the higher self. Open myself to the highest self. I ground myself to the healing center of the earth. I open myself to the healing power of the One. Release anything no longer useful to me now. And if you wish some support from the seventh dimensional beings, the Hathors, you can say, I choose to work with the Hathors. I'm going to just move the light. I don't know which way. I need to move it to get it to. Okay, let's try it there, because I'll notice it less and it won't be sitting over top of my head. Yeah, that works better for me. Hopefully it works better for you and I didn't just disturb your whole day. I'll just say these words and you can just notice if things happen for you. I ask that we be surrounded in a field of protection while we do this work. And you may want to state out loud that you connect to the healing field, the world healing field. It's a field for yourself. It's an event for you to release and integrate the energy of. But it's also taking place within the context of the world healing field. So it is affecting the world. I ask the higher self to take us through the portal of time to the event that would be of the highest good, release and integrate at this time. And I invite all souls to return to the event, release and integrate the energy of the event for themselves. And I ask that they all be surrounded in a field of protection while they do their work. Upon arrival at the event, I ask the higher self to assist us to release and integrate all energies of the event gently and easily, fully and completely on all levels and through all space and time. Okay. Take a moment to just check in with yourself. Notice your breath. Notice if you're breathing. You probably are breathing because you're alive. But just notice your breath. Notice if there's places in your body that seem really open and fluid. and energy moving. Notice what those places are. Notice if there are places that feel stuck, the energy is not moving as much as it is other places. This isn't a time to try to change that or to feel bad about it. It's never a time to feel bad about it. One ought to always feel good about recognizing how they feel. You may not always feel good, but it's most useful to feel well, to be aware of how's your body doing, how are you doing on an emotional level, how are you doing on a mental level, how you're doing on a spiritual level, and that ties in with the other three. So the more aligned we are physically, mentally, emotionally, the more typically open we are spiritually. And when we are open spiritually, and you can maybe feel this happening as you're watching this video, that this, when we are open spiritually, so you can take that as a hypnotic suggestion. I like to point it out because all words can be used as spells. That's why they call it spelling. But we can use words as spells. We do it all the time, you know, just in conversation with other people. We're possibly attempting to shift how another person feels, the relationship with us, all those things, that interaction of energetics. The relationship can be affected by suggestions, not in intent to manipulate or control another person, but possibly in an attempt to open up a possibility of something they didn't know they could open. To me, that's the purpose of it. That we can say something like, and possibly is a good way to start anything, and possibly we might feel more open to the higher realms. And then when I say that, and you feel yourself open to the higher realms, then you can determine for yourself whether you think that's a good thing or not a good thing. It's not when we open ourselves to the higher realms that we're going to feel better. It's not my experience that that's the way it's worked. It works when we open ourselves to higher realm. More than likely, we're going to feel more. We're going to be aware of more. When we open ourselves up to our higher self, you notice the word that the words are higher self. One of those words being self, which means your higher self, my higher self, my highest self. The one means we're all part of it. So when we open ourselves to the healing power of the one, we're opening ourself to a healing within ourself. A healing within ourself and a healing within ourself. If you checked in and where your energy was moving and maybe where your energy was stuck, just check in again momentarily and notice if the energy where it was moving, if it's still moving, if it has slowed down moving, or it's moving more, and the area that felt maybe not moving, maybe stuck or a little bit compressed, if that feels less compressed, less stuck, or more stuck. And do your best not to judge it. Just notice it. Okay, so we have a healing field going. We're surrounded by a protective field. It just holds a space for us when we're doing energy work that we don't have as much in the way of energy distractions. And I'm going to read today from the Mayan calendar. I'm going to start off. There are 13 lunar tones, and this is the second lunar tone. So the first lunar tone is tone 1, and that's the individuality of one, you, me, the individuality of one, within the context of the consciousness of the one. That's the magnetic tone of the lunar tones. Now we're in the tone 2, and this tone, it's called the lunar tone. So the magnetic tone is kind of the solar tone, the one solar tone. These are all lunar tones, but tone 2 is called lunar, and after that, it's not as confusing. It goes to electric and then self-existing overtone. But lunar tone 2 being lunar, it just seems like it complicates it for me, but maybe it doesn't complicate it for you. So just let me uncomplicate it. It's just lunar tone 2, which is lunar. We'll leave it at that. And it's about polarizing, stabilizing, and challenging. So we go from tone 1 to tone 2, which is about duality, polarity, and something that appears that allows that polarity to take place, that yin and yang, that masculine, feminine, that one and another, all those energetics of the polarity, and possibly more of a feeling of stability in 2 as opposed to 1. So one of the things of lunar tone 2 is to stabilize, also to challenge. So the words it says in the Mayan calendar are, it starts off and says, all antagonisms are complementary. And that's just something to think about. From 1 comes 2. Opposing forces work together, counterbalancing each other in a field of stability. Black and white, night and day, good and evil, work and play, yin and yang, the beauty of relationship, represents the essential dance of 2. Everything defines and is defined by its polar opposite. We are described and highlighted by what we are not. It is said, if the valley filled up, the mountains would disappear. Tone 2 helps us to see that it is light which creates shadow, that winter and summer are but 2 products of one force, experienced from contrasting positions. Night and day are faces of the one earth as it revolves. Polarized states we encounter in daily life can serve as extremes which challenge us. The moon, keeper of lunar lunacy, reminds us that as we can only see one side of her at a time, so too might we be restricted to only see one side of a perceptual equation. If we overlook the inherent unity that opposing forces are born of, polarity is experienced as duality. Duality, the destructive illusion of separation, denies that counterbalances exist to serve each other. Challenges that appear as hardships or struggle, when seen from another perspective, can bear the blessing of opportunity. Tone 2 encourages stabilize, challenge by receiving opposition as a catalyst to generate holistic awareness. Embrace challenges as stimulating soul growth. So that's lunar tone 2, which is lunar. And today is a day of the yellow seed. That's the solar tone or solar kin 4, which yellow is about the south, which is ripening. The yellow seed relates to the root chakra, and it's about targeting, flowering, and awareness. And the words are, don't get lost in the entire process of manifestation. Just begin by seeding your heart's desire. All seeds hold the holographic power of their completion. That's by Ariel Spilsbury. Seeds represent the miracle of life, symbolic of the living power of potential residing within all of us, waiting to be released into action. They demonstrate the creative intelligence of growth as ordered patterns of natural unfolding, and reveal that majestic manifestation is encoded in the tiniest component. Yellow seed invites us to target what we wish to have flourish in our lives, that we may plant seeds with intention and precision. Once properly seeded and given supportive conditions, the natural process of flowering unfolds, bringing us beauty and riches. Our very lives are the gardens of our awareness. By deepening our subtle perceptions, noticing the breath, noticing the body, noticing the emotions, noticing the thoughts, we find that the realm of self-awareness is vast and endless. Each new layer of self-insight facilitates a refinement of perception and therefore action. May the flowering of human consciousness ripen from within. And then from the Venerable Dhyani Yuahu, he said, seed thoughts of peace, moistened by love, tilled by right action, weeds of discord, pulled by diligent action. The harvest shall be abundant joy, sustaining future generations. So that's the Mayan calendar reading for today. And if you feel like you need a little more time to release and integrate the energy of the event we went back to, go ahead and hit the pause button, and then later on come back to it for the bringing in of the energies. But yeah. So just hit the pause button, come back later till you feel finished with the healing of the world healing field. And I'll say welcome back if you paused and came back, or if you're still here, welcome back again. And I'm going to ask the higher self, I do ask the higher self, to assist all the souls that returned to the event to combine with that part of their soul that had remained at the event and bring that combined soul back into their body in present time with all of its wisdom, power, clarity, compassion, curiosity, and kindness. And I would ask all those combined souls to ground themselves into the healing center of the earth and open up the portal for the delivery of the new energies that we agreed to bring in at this time. And I would ask that these new energies be brought into the earth and they be activated. And I let the universe and beyond know that this has been done and that it's good. May this serve you well. And now must go. Now must go and do a tarot card healing reading.